Hey, what's up guys? Super Milesio here. Zelda month came early this year. Like, really early. Now, if you've been in a Guardian Beam-induced coma for the last 100 years, then you might be unaware that 5 years ago, a little game called Breath of the Wild came out. In this game, our very own Link has cooking skills that could rival Gordon Ramsay himself. And so do we. We are upping the ante from my last video and making a 3-course meal. Alright, less talking, more cooking. Let's get into it. Alright guys, first we're making everybody's favorite spooky, scary treat, monster rice balls. Now these look to be closely modeled after Japanese onigiri, which you may recognize from a certain episode of Pokemon.
These donuts are great! Jelly-filled are my favorite! Nothing beats a jelly-filled donut.
Oh. Well, I guess we're making jelly-filled donuts then. Here's something that the purple rice industry doesn't want you to know about. You can make your own purple rice at home by combining black rice and white rice. Because you know how you learn in school that black and white make purple. Let's hope this works. I'm going to start by combining half a cup of white rice, a tablespoon of black rice, half a cup of water. Mix that up. Now that's pretty purple if I do say so myself. But it's not purple enough. Well guys, they do look monstrous, that's for sure. Now guys, these are Japanese umeboshi plums, one of the more common fillings used for jelly-filled donuts. Make sure your hands are wet when you're doing this. Plum goes inside. How cute is that? Now guys, you're supposed to put some seaweed on the bottom here, but I forgot to get some. This is black fabric. We can pretend, right?
No.
There we go. Alright guys, now that our palates are nice and moist, let's get on to the main course. We're making the creamy heart soup from Breath of the Wild. Here's what you're gonna need. Broth. Some good old milk from any animal of your choice. Potatoes. An onion. Beets. Radishes. And garlic. You're gonna want to get whole cloves if you can, but this was all we had. Alright guys, before we start, we gotta deal with all these pesky vegetables. First, the potatoes need to be peeled. Now, my favorite way of doing this is just to smack it really hard onto the counter. Now, you could also use a vegetable peeler, but what's the fun in that? As happy as these beets make me, we really only need one for the recipe, and we really only need a couple chunks of it, so sorry to disappoint. To the pot. Straight to hot. A little bit of oil makes everything alright. We're gonna start by sauteing the onions. Listen, we give these guys a couple minutes, just keep stirring them. Now I'm gonna go ahead and add the garlic now, and just let those flavors get to know each other. Alright, 3 cups of broth. Count with me. 1. Oh! 2. And 3. 3 cups of milk. Count with me. 1. 2. And 3. I'm gonna add a copious amount of salt and some thyme. Now, optionally, you can also use nut milk or oat milk if you want it to be vegan, and if you're okay with it tasting bad. Now, all we gotta do is wait for this mother to boil. Now, I should probably take this opportunity to let you know that radishes were not in the recipe that I found online. I just thought it would be fun. Cover this, bring it down to a simmer. Now, once the radishes and potatoes are fork tender, I'm gonna take it off the heat. Oh yeah, I forgot to mention, you're also gonna need a blender. Oh, Kids, be careful around sharp things. Close enough. Now the trick to giving this thing its pinkish hue is to use beets. Now I've went ahead and cut them into small little chunks. We're just gonna start with a couple of them and see where that takes us. 1, 2, 3. Interesting. Now, I think that could be a little more pink. What do you guys think? I don't really care what you think. Ooh, ho, ho, ho. Guys, now that is pink. Not that great. Oh, ho, ho, ho. Now I'm just gonna warm this up a little bit, add a lot of salt, because oh boy, it needs it. Now guys, we still haven't talked about the heart part of this soup. And what's creamy heart soup without the heart? Just creamy soup? I've got an idea. You may recognize this as an apple, because it is. Let's try not to cut ourselves again. I think it's assembly time. Ooh, so cute.
Hello and welcome to Mixing with Miles. In this episode, we'll be making wildberry crepes from Breath of the Wild. Now, in-game, they very closely resemble strawberries, but there are no strawberries in Breath of the Wild. So we're using the second wildest berries I could think of, raspberries. We'll start by combining the dry ingredients first. 1 cup or 120 grams of all-purpose flour, a 1/4 teaspoon of salt, and 1 tablespoon of white sugar. It's worth mentioning that we are making sweet crepes. If you want to make savory crepes, omit the sugar and instead add an extra 1/4 teaspoon of salt. Give this a rudimentary whisk. This mixture is looking drier than my lips in the wintertime, so let's fix that. 1 1/2 cups of milk, 1 teaspoon of vegetable or canola oil, and 2 large eggs should do the trick. And again, because we're making sweet crepes, I'm also going to add 1 teaspoon of vanilla extract. Now to mix. You can absolutely use a stand mixer or a hand mixer, but since I've seen nary a single stand nor hand mixer in Hyrule, I'm going to use my own 2 hands. Just ask yourself, what would Link do? Once your batter is sufficiently smooth, we're going to let it rest for 30 minutes. What does this do? I don't know, but everyone seems to think it's important. Plus, it gives me time to change the bandage on my still copiously bleeding finger. Now, what we've all been waiting for. Heat up an ideally non-stick skillet on medium heat and add a small pat of butter into the pan. Probably not as much as I just did. Once the butter is a-bubblin', we will take roughly a 1/4 cup of our batter and precariously pour it into the pan. Now, we don't talk about attempt number 1. There was far too much butter in the pan and I didn't spread the batter out quickly enough, and I quickly abandoned ship. Attempt number 2 was marginally better, but I still failed to spread it out quickly enough to get a nice even circle.
Not an egg.
Either way, we'll let that cook for 30 to 60 seconds before flipping and cooking for another 30 to 60 seconds.
Be
No,
worse?
it looks even more like an egg.
It's not an egg, you loser.
It should be lightly golden brown and cooked through.
Ooh, yes.
Now it really looks like an egg.
Okay, shut up.
Attempt number 3 was similar to number 2, but I was able to spread it out a little more. You really gotta work quickly with this stuff. Attempts 4 through 6 were really where I hit my stride. Using slightly more batter and spreading it swiftly, I achieved crepes that were satisfyingly circular. Then I got bored and poured all of my remaining batter into the pan, resulting in a crepe that was far too thick for my tastes. But oh well, we have a wide variety of crepes to work with. On to decoration. There are a multitude of ways to plate and decorate crepes. For Hylian style, we simply fold the crepe in half and begin rolling one side of the semicircle in towards the center until you have a shape that resembles the in-game reference. We will of course start with the wild berry crepe, so arrange the berries in 3 rows from the center to the edge. I went with rows of 1, 3, and 5 respectively, but use as many as you need to fill the length of the crepe. Now I'm adding some whipped cream in all of the appropriate spots, and there we have it. Wild berry crepes. How cute. But how lonely. I thought, what the hell, since I have plenty of crepes, let's make all 3 varieties present in-game. I'm going to fold and roll the crepes in the exact same fashion. For the energizing honey crepe, I'm adding a healthy, or unhealthy, drizzle of honey, and for the plain crepe, a pat of butter. Then they both get a sprinkling of powdered sugar, and the honey crepe gets another dollop of whipped cream and a random green leaf that I found in the fridge as a garnish. And there we have it. Hylian crepes, 3 ways. Now excuse me while I dispose of these. Into my mouth.
Well guys, that's about all the cooking I got in me today. And guys, it's only a few months until actual Zelda month. If you did enjoy this video, make sure to let me know with a like, a comment, and who knows, maybe I'll do it again sometime. You can be sure you'll be seeing more Zelda content very soon. Anyways, have a good one everybody. Peace out.